Invictus, my kings, and welcome back to another episode of the DarthMod Empire United States playthrough. And today we will be taking on the dastardly French once more. And right off the bat, we're going for Dutch Guyana. Let's go. And this is going to be an interesting fight because it's going to be a siege battle. We don't really have many of those now, do we? And they have managed to build up walls around the settlement. So while I could just auto-resolve it and probably win, maybe I'll lose one unit. Let's give it a go. We haven't seen these battles too often, so let's go. Alright, here we are on the battlefield, and as you can see, the enemy has not a huge fort, but it's a substantial one. Let's see, could we do? No, we can't deploy that far forward, so we'll have to run for it, I guess. And let's just deploy in a huge column like so, in huge columns. And let's take the fort by storm, shall we? Yes, that's very interesting. And let's see how they're deployed. I think we should be able to win. They do have artillery on the walls, obviously, but the defensive siege artillery tends to be a little bit inaccurate, and they don't have anything that can really stand up against us other than that. So I think this shouldn't be too... Oh, actually, they managed to get some nice shots in here. Killed a whole bunch of our units, so never mind. Scratch that. The defensive siege artillery is actually quite good. It appears to be. And let's just immediately sally up the walls. And let's send our troop. Oh, already wavering. Looks like this one's gonna be a difficult fight. Looks like this one's gonna be difficult, but our units, our troops... Oh, looks like they opened the gates. How very kind of them. They send out their light cavalry around, and the enemy is actually the enemy is actually coming down our ropes. Our units aren't advancing up, but the enemy is advancing down. How very interesting. That's Empire Total War for you. As soon as we put up the ropes, the enemy started advancing down the ropes. But hey, at least it'll be an interesting fight, I guess. But our units sure are wavering quite a bit. I'm not entirely sure why, because the fight's just started, and here we are. Here we managed to actually move up the walls. Because our units should be relatively decent in melee, not as good as dedicated melee units, but still they should be at least relatively decent. Let's actually form up so we have better firing position. And here, well, okay, so we finally started going up the ropes. It's not just the enemy coming down the ropes now. There's a big old melee mess over here. They do have some light units, so let's actually move up like so. Let's form a square. The enemy isn't firing anymore, which is an interesting situation. They do have some artillery, but they have deployed it in... Well, they deployed it inside, obviously. Maybe they'll actually... maybe they'll actually do something with it, but I doubt it. Here we are. Advance forward and then form squares right on top of the enemy. That should get rid of them. That's one thing you can do in Empire Total War. Just form a square. It doesn't matter if your troops are already engaged in combat. You can just form a square, and yeah, That should work. Let's speed this up because I don't really see anything of importance going on. So I'll see you when something happens. And through all that, it looks like the enemy has left the gate wide open for at least some of our units to get through. So yeah, this should be a fun one. So our units over here. Let's see, this is all kinds of glitchy right about now, but let's see what happens. Maybe they'll form up and start shooting the enemy general. Now that would be fantastic. No, they're bugging out. They're bugging out. Of course they are. Alright, we are finally coming down from the parapets or whatever. Look at the bloodbath that was this battle. Because it was all melee and essentially routing units got slaughtered on the walls anyway. This was quite the battle, and but it's good, you know, we don't have many sieges in this game, so it was nice to experience it. In Napoleon Total War, I think we have many more sieges than this, but let's take on the enemy general while we're down here. Let's capture the central square, or whatever you want to call it. They actually have a very nice flag flowing. This one, I think, is just the flag of Louisiana, or maybe I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's the flag of the holdings of France in Northern America, or just in America general. So I'm not entirely sure. But let's send up our units, all of them. The enemy has been thoroughly surrounded over here, and we'll crush them. They have put up quite the defense, though, I'll tell you that much. They sent about 3 to 4 units of mine routing. And why are these guys not getting ready and firing? Really? Is that the best? Is that, you know what? Let's just go in for a melee, because this is not gonna be working out so well for us after all. Okay, now that we have engaged them, let's form square. Enemy general killed, very nice. This is gonna be building captured. Okay, so we have captured the gates, not that it matters anymore since all of our units are up on the walls. This one guy, this one last French person, one last Frenchman defending the oh, there he goes, okay. So now let's send all of our dudes against the general bodyguard. We have captured the settlement, or we haven't, but we will shortly. Love these like decorative elements that they have put up. You know, this game can look so nice sometimes, but it's a buggy mess in a majority of the time. Okay, and there we go. The enemy's running, and it is a victory. And we lost a huge number of units. We lost 2,412, just a little bit less than the enemy has. This was a bloody battle, but it was well worth it. We finally managed to kick out the French from their holdings in Dutch Guyana. And now with this army, we're about to take the surrender refuse. Let's try again. There we go. We've taken the Windward Islands, and I think the French should have no other holdings in North America. Or in the Americas in general, so... Arawakan rebels. Looks like either Portugal... Is Portugal still? I know Portugal is not alive, so that was probably held by either Portugal or the Dutch. But now that we have kicked the French out, we can request peace. There we go, peace treaty signed. And it's 1792 and they still have Louis the 16th. I'm not entirely sure if that's historically accurate, my dude. But, you know, as you do. So, the French have been thoroughly kicked out. All that's left now is to deal with the rebels, the Spanish and the British. I think we'll leave the British for last, and we'll go kicking around the Spanish next time. So yeah, but that's for the next part, Kings. I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.